Hello friends and welcome. Today I want to talk to you about this Chinese scooter, electric bicycle coming out of China. It has many proprietary labels that are sold by various vendors in Europe. And basically, the higher the amp hour rating on the battery, usually the higher the cost on the bicycle. Some vendors will put their own label on the bicycle and change a few accessories and literally sell these things out of their apartment. In any case, you get what you pay for. In the further part of this video, I'm going to describe some of the problems with this bike and some of the things I did to remedy those situations. Problem number one, the seat clamp. Some bicycles come with a 4-bolt design, much better. The first day that I got this clamp, my seller stripped it and didn't tell me about it. When I asked him to replace it, he basically told me to go through the warranty center. Well, he got my money. He really didn't care. So why bother? So I ended up having to go to a competitor and replacing it with something better. And this is what I went with right here. It's a 4-screw design, much better. And if should I ever strip it out, I can drill out the hole and put a nut on the other side. This is going to be the strongest clamp you can buy, and some vendors have already gone to this design. Another thing that I did is I put a silicone sheath in here to cut down on metal-to-metal contact, noise, and metal wear. A lot of people complain about these inferior pedals. They're probably the cheapest pedals you can possibly buy. They literally have very little movement in the shaft, a very poor bearing design. This is what I ended up going with, a wider pedal for mountain bikes, and they spin freely and much more comfortably. While I'm in this vicinity of the bicycle, let me talk to you about another design change that I did. I got rid of this cheap plastic thing, floorboard, and replaced it with this. This is 4mm thick diamond plate. It's got a protective edge, as you can see. And what you can't see or barely see is a 2mm thick layer of silicone all along the bottom of this thing to cut down on metal-to-metal contact. And any kind of rocks that might pop in here, it's not going to damage up the metal. The hydraulic brakes was one of the selling features on this bike that I went with, and certainly drove up the price. In addition to that, I end up putting my own side reflectors on here. It makes a big difference when it comes to safety and driving on the road, especially near T intersections. While I'm over here, let me talk about this cheap inferior light. This is a factory light, runs off the battery. It only produces about a 2-meter square area of light. It's very dangerous. You might as well not have a light at all. This is what I end up replacing it with. This can be handheld. It's quick release. You don't have to worry about it being stolen. You can take it with you when you go into a store. I made a custom mount. I repurposed this component from my scooter and used this componentry designed for the front basket. This light is awesome. It produces more than enough light that I'll never need. Super bright. And I can charge my cell phone off of it and use my battery charger to charge up the light. Regarding the basket, it's very dangerous to have a basket in front of these bicycles. It blocks your vision of the road. I highly recommend you get rid of it. These are the mirrors I ended up going with an independent mount. And the reason for that is because this is the mounting location that they recommend. This is a horrible design. If the mirror ever breaks, it's going to damage your hydraulic fluid reservoir. That's going to be a huge cost to you should you ever have to replace this. Anyway, these mirrors are very strong, and the field of vision is awesome. No problems. This throttle design, it's very fidgety. You have 3 different speeds you can switch to, no cruise control. The problem that I found is that the bike just wants to go faster, and faster, depending on what speed you're in. It's very unpredictable, and I find it quite dangerous. This is the rear child seat. I put an Oxford cloth over it as a semi-permanent solution to cut down on UV and to add extra moisture protection. They add moisture protection inside the control box, which is located underneath this unit right here. It's a cheap ABS, really thin gauge box, and moisture could still creep between the seat and the frame of the bike. So this Oxford cloth gives extra moisture protection. So what do they do when they protect your bike against moisture? Well, all they do is they squirt a whole bunch of black silicone inside this box. In fact, in my unit, they put so much you can't even take the seat off anymore. Really poor workmanship. Another benefit of having this cloth, there's a white PVC plate on the back of the seat, which has probably 0 UV resistance, and that gives extra UV protection. I ordered a special box for my battery charger, and this box gives me the ability to use it on the back seat should I desire. While I'm on this conversation, never charge your battery with the bike battery installed on the bike, and never leave it unattended. Some vendors now are selling these special bags that are fireproof, and I highly recommend you get one. But again, never charge your battery without being in the vicinity. A lot of fires are happening because of these Chinese bicycles. Here's another thing that I did. I put a bolt standoff, or a longer bolt, with a washer. And as dumb as it looks, this is just a really cheap solution so that if the chain ever comes off, the chain is not going to cut into the motor wire. Can you imagine the expense of having to replace the motor because of damaged wire? This cheap fix prevents that chain from ever going in this vicinity. I also put a sheath over this, which is Velcro, to protect the wire should the chain ever come off. This is something I added. This is the orange wire that goes from the control box underneath the seat to the motor. And I'm a little on the fence about this fix because I'm concerned that the wire won't have enough flexibility. This is a bicycle that has shocks, and the wire needs to be able to flex. If it can't flex, it'll find the path of least resistance, and that's going to be down here at the bottom where this zip tie is. And that could cause the wire to undergo kinetic stress and the wire could break off. So I might remove that sheath because of the dangers involved with this design. Another complaint I have is with this cheap chain rail, guardrail. It looks like it was a repurposed chain rail from another bike, or guardrail from another bicycle. And you can see by this hole, which has absolutely no purpose. Problem with this design is that if the bicycle ever goes through an elevator door, you see these typically when exiting train stations, watch those doors, just dig right into this. And if it digs hard enough, it's going to bend this cheap frame, and you'll notice when you pedal, your chain will start to rub against the sprocket. It's a bad, cheap design. Well, friends, that's all I have today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this will help you make some educated decisions when purchasing one of these cheap Chinese bicycles. I do not recommend them.